This is Your Path, live, with Bishop Mark, live from Dallas Universal Life Church in Dallas, Texas.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. I'm your host, Bishop Mark Dorn, coming to you live from Dallas, Texas, from Dallas Universal Life Church, like we do every Wednesday night at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern Time. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. This is a call-in show. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen there a link. Click that link and come talk to me. Pray with me. Discuss things with me. Ask me some advice. Tell me some advice. That's what we're here for. It's called Your Path for a reason. So I'm going to talk about a topic today, and you can even chime in on the topic if you want to. But I'm here for you. This is your show. It's your path. I just talked with the topic so that I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. But please call in. I'm really not hard to talk to. Not too bad. So it's been a difficult week here at the church. I hope my sound's working. We had a good friend of ours, who goes by the name of Pels, friend of the church. He's come to some services before. Pels passed away on Thursday, and it's been a huge loss for a lot of people. He was one of those guys that just had a heart that just didn't quit. Soft-spoken, very gentle, unless you got him angry. But just got involved in something that took him over. And it's something that I am adamantly against. This thing called fentanyl. Fentanyl. It's killing people. It will kill you if you try it. Period. It's death in a pill. That's what it is. I've been around the block. I've seen some things, but I've never seen this. And this is, you could do it the first time, try it, one little hit of it, and you could end up in the morgue. I don't know what the fun is in that. I understand the addiction. I get it. I get that it grabs you. I understand that. But it took our friend, and it left a hole in our hearts, and it makes me angry. Y'all know me. Y'all know that I'm a proponent for the legalization of many drugs. I think that people ought to have a choice to do that, and if they act stupid out in public, they ought to go to jail just like they do if they're drunk. But when it comes to something like that, where do you draw the line? Well, that's where you draw the line. That is, it will kill you. It will. If you get on it, it will kill you. It's a matter of time. So, parents out there, teachers, pastors, brothers and sisters, keep an eye out on your kids. Keep an eye on your family, and watch for those signs of fentanyl abuse. And I encourage you to get online and look it up and learn about it, because it's rampant in the United States right now, and it's killing a lot of people. I know in Dallas, it's an epidemic. they've actually, I don't know if it's nationwide, but they've made Narcan over the counter now, which was a drug that they used to counteract the effects of morphine, of opioids, like morphine and fentanyl. I keep some here, just in case. I just wish he had been here and I could have given it to him. We were going to dedicate last Sunday's service to him, and I became very ill and could not have service. I apologize for that, folks. I couldn't get out of bed. So next Sunday, here at the church, we will have a regular service, but we will be dedicated to the memory and the life of David Michael Christian Pells. So at 3 o'clock, we'll be online and here at the church. So please join us for that. Hopefully some people will come and they can share some memories of him. I would enjoy that. I think everybody else would enjoy that as well. So I know he's watching over us now, smiling. A great smile. So let's talk about something called death. Oh no, we're already there, right? Don't forget, folks, that number's right across the bottom of the screen there. Go ahead and call. It's okay. Break in anytime. If you need to talk to me, if you need to pray with you need to pray with me, anything. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Compose myself a little bit. When people close to me die, the world around me, the colors get a little less vibrant. I can't explain it in any other way than that. And I noticed it the most when my mother died. It was just a huge difference. I mean, I went outside and the green grass wasn't really green anymore. And when somebody close to me dies, it just a little bit more, just a little more faded. In the world today, about 56,597,034 people die a year. 56,597,034 people die a year, which works out to approximately 155,000 people a day, 6,458 an hour, and 108 people per minute, which means every second, 2 people die. For every breath you take, approximately 7 people have died. Death is everywhere, and it happens to everyone. I like going through graveyards sometimes. I think they're interesting to look at the tombstones and get quiet. Just sometimes hard to find. So a couple weeks ago, I went walking through one of the local graveyards, and the graves are all around you. And some of them are extravagant and very simple, and some of them are very simple. But every one of them marks the same thing: a person who was born, who lived, and now has died. This one in particular has a few grave sites I always like to visit. It has one tombstone on which is engraved what is possibly the most evil sounding name I have ever heard. Get ready for this. Slittler Weingar. Slittler Weingar. I'm saying that right. Slittler Weingar. That's correct. There are others with statues of angels, and many that are only half finished. One person lies there and their spouse has a name written with a year of birth, but a blank space for death year. There are a few things as sobering as having your grave already picked out. I can't imagine what it would be like to sit in front of a grave and know that someday, maybe soon, that date will be filled and you will live just 6 feet below where you're standing right now for the rest of time. A friend of mine went to Denmark, and he also likes to go through graveyards, and was sharing with me some of his travel notes, if you will. He went and visited Hans Christian Andersen, and then went and saw Kierkegaard. Did I say that right? Kierkegaard? I think I did. These were men who moved and directed human imagination and thought throughout the whole world. And I found myself alone. He found himself. I'm starting reading what he wrote. He found himself alone beside them with no one around. No matter how great you are, you will die. Death is nothing special. It's nothing new. Today, the Christian church, today, we do remember the death of Christ every day, especially on a day called Good Friday. It happens to be my favorite day of the year, the Christian year. People think that's morbid, but it's not. Many people go to service on Good Friday and they hear the story of Christ's brutal execution. I've gone to a lot of different services over the years on Good Friday, Protestant, Catholic, even gone to Jehovah's Witness once. And all of us remember the death of Jesus. Why? Why was Jesus' death special? There's no other death that is so widely honored. It has been featured in movies, incorporated into books, and remembered in songs, including a few of my own. But Jesus' death was nothing special apart from his life. The power of the crucifixion is in the life that it ended. The word passion is rooted in the Latin word patior, to suffer, patior, to suffer. The thing about the passion of the Christ is that it didn't really start in the Garden of Gethsemane. It started in the manger. Have you seen the film? Have you read the Gospels? On Good Friday, we see the life of Jesus lived out powerfully. He was poor in spirit. He mourned and was comforted. He was humble, gentle, and submissive unto death. The portrait of a meek servant. He was filled with righteousness and was merciful even to those who came to take his life. He saw God, his Father, and his heart was pure. In the midst of violence, he brought peace, and he was persecuted even to the point of death. Sound familiar? It should. It's the kind of life Jesus talked about in Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. And blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The message of the Passion is more than you were saved through Jesus' death. The message of the Passion also tells Christians that you are part of Jesus' death. In Galatians 2, chapter 20, Paul states, I have been crucified with Christ. Through faith, we are united to Christ in his death. And it's a death that we are called to every day. Paul emphasizes this again in 1 Corinthians chapter 15:31, where he tells us that he dies every day. That is our call, to offer our bodies as living sacrifices. Now, what is a sacrifice? Sorry, I gotta tell y'all again, folks. I'm running the things behind the scenes today on my own, so I'm kind of having to watch what's going on. I'm not used to having people behind me doing all the work, so it's kind of weird. I've been my eyes are going like this. Would you come look at this for a second and see? I'm not sure if it's somebody waiting or. You look at, is that somebody waiting? There's nobody there though. He says it's not connected, so. Huh? Somebody's right there. Let me see if they're right here. No. Yeah, they're not connected. Okay, so I need to take them off of there. Leo, you're not connected, dude. You gotta put your microphone and your camera up before you can call in, unfortunately. Because I can't hear you otherwise. So try again. There you go. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So what is sacrifice? That's what it was. Forfeiture of something highly valued for the sake of one considered to have a greater value or claim. Forfeiture of something highly valued for the sake of one considered to have a greater value or claim. We were bought at a high price, the life of Jesus. We are called to live a life that reflects the price that was paid, the life of Jesus. What is our sacrifice? forfeiture of our own lives for the sake of life that Jesus claimed us with. To live the life of Christ today, to be a follower of Christ, a little Christ, a Christian. Literally, what a Christian means is a little Christ, or Christ-like. John 3:16 tells us God so loved the world that he sent his only Son. Now, through Christ, we have become sons and daughters of God. And guess what? God still loves the world. Jesus Christ's death saved the world. The Christian religion isn't about just honoring Jesus with songs and services where we offer him praise with our lips, but honoring Jesus with our lives. James chapter 1, verse 27. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress and guard against corruption from the godless world. Amos chapter 5, verse 11, 12, and 21 through 24. You trample on the poor and force him to give you grain. Therefore, though you have built stone mansions, you will not live in them. Though you have planted lush vineyards, you will not drink their wine. For I know how many are your offenses and how great your sins. You oppress the righteous and take bribes, and you deprive the poor of justice in the courts. I hate and despise your religious beasts. I cannot stand your assemblies. Even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring choice fellowship offerings, I will have no regard for them. Away with the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the music of your harps. But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Do you want to honor God every day? Do you want to show Jesus you are thankful for his sacrifice? Look at the scriptures. What kind of praise does God want? There's something wrong with the church that we build. We build mansions for God, but leave the homeless without shelter. We have stadiums, multi-million-dollar stadiums with money hidden in the walls. Yet we have homeless people who are put out because of a hurricane and a flood, and they can't use the facilities. There's something wrong when we put more gold on our altar and don't put any more food in the mouths of the hungry or roofs over our children. Our priorities are skewed. We're doing it for God. It says it right there in the Bible. He doesn't want all that junk. Away with the noise of your songs. I want to listen to your harps. But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Very simple, folks. Ritual's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Unless you are so extravagant that you're missing the point of ministry. Jesus was a poor man. He didn't even have a home. He wandered. Yet, we have clergy in palaces. We have ministers in 26-bedroom mansions with he and his wife. Something is wrong there. Like I said, Jesus was a homeless man who said he would find him, homeless man who said we would find him in the broken and destitute of the world. And in the time it took me to talk to you, around 540 children have died from hunger-related causes. Many of those without ever knowing God's love firsthand. 540. In our country alone, there are 3 million homeless people. I think that number is actually a little low. I think it's much higher than that. In Matthew 25, Jesus tells a story where he divides the righteous from the unrighteous. The righteous are on his right, and the unrighteous are on his left. Jesus says, then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I'm sorry, I was checking the messages were popping up over here. I mean, it wasn't a dramatic pause. I apologize. Let's see. John Condren, Pastor Sean is on. He said, sorry, that's that. Pastor Sean is on from his hospital room. He says, Sarah just dropped off my cell phone. Yippee. I'm watching from my room at the hospital. Miss you all. Love you. Bishop Mark, God bless you. God bless you as well, Sean. I'm so glad that you're doing better. We've been praying for you night and day here. We've missed you a bunch. Let's see. And poor Mormon sinner, he said he couldn't join, so the max was filled. It shouldn't be. Like I said, I'm still new with this. I apologize if it's doing that, but it shouldn't. You should be able to join, because I know we can have 10, and there's not 10 in there. Try again. Just try it one more time and see if you can get in. If not, we'll figure something out. I'll go to break and figure out what's going on. Okay. Okay. Where was I? For I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison and you did not look after me. They also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? And he will reply, I tell you the truth. Whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. Jesus' passion didn't end on the cross. He is suffering every day all around us. And he is calling us to love. The story of Jesus doesn't end with the cross. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to church on a day in spring that happens to be called Easter and listen real close. It's pretty awesome. Everyone will die. But God has called us to live a new life. Just as we died with Christ, so we live with him. That life can begin today. So when you get out there, know that the harvest is kind of plentiful, but the workers are few. Okay. It's serious stuff today. I know. We've talked about death before on our show, a little bit differently. It's a little more personal and a little more what's, hitting us at home, hitting me. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk a little more about death. It's kind of the topic today. Or you could call in. There's that thing right across the bottom of the screen right there. Call in. At least I can get us into a commercial here. We'll be right back, folks, right after this. Oh, somewhere. There it is.
In a world that's torn apart, we unite with open hearts. For each other we shall stand, men and women, hand in hand. We are different, yet the same, radical in love's name, Christian in its truest sense, with all people, no pretense. We are Dallas Universal Life Church. We believe in love that we receive. accepting all we are, shining bright just like a star, marching on through joy and pain, bound by love we break the chain, every heart a sacred place, filled with light and boundless grace. We are Dallas Universal Life Church. We believe in love that we receive, all accepting all we are, shining bright just like a star. We are Dallas Universal Life Church. We believe in love that we receive, all accepting all we are, shining bright just like a star.
In today's world, where divisiveness seems to be the norm, Dallas Universal Life Church offers a refreshing and inspiring approach to faith. Their values of selflessness, service, and inclusion are a testament to the positive impact that religion can have on individuals, communities, and society as a whole. For more information about Dallas Universal Life Church, please visit www.dallasulc.com.
Okay, well, welcome back to Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. I'm your host, Bishop Mark Zorn, coming to you live from Dallas Universal Life Church, the commercial you just heard about there, from Dallas, Texas, as we do every Wednesday night here at 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. This is a call-in show, folks. This is your path. So please call in if you need prayer, if you want to pray with us, if you want us to pray with you, if you want to talk about your faith, your life, your Christianity, your day at work, your husband or your wife, your problems, your accolades, whatever. If you want to talk about death, I'm here for that. This time is set aside for you every week. And I love doing it, and I love it when people call in. I love it either way, but it really is what I'm here for, is for you. And I love to hear from you. That's why we do it. It's not just to get the numbers of people watching. We want to talk to you. We want to help people. We want to figure out what's going on out there in the world and make a better place. Spread some love. Because that's what it's all about, folks. Believe it or not, 4-letter word called love, L-O-V-E, could change everything. Trust me. Trust me on that one. Let's see. Trying to be all fancy here with all this stuff here, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. Oh, wait, let's do this one. Here we go. There. Kind of got blocked, but yeah, we're live with StreamYard. StreamYard's our software that we're using, and it's nice. You got to try it out if you want to do streaming. I'm not computer illiterate, but I'm getting older. The computer's going a lot quicker than I am, so I'm thinking I'm doing okay with it. So, all right. So we're talking about death today. Don't forget, calling folks that's right on screen. I see it right there, going across. tinyurl.com/bishopmark1. Very simple. tinyurl.com/bishopmark1. That'll put you in the queue here, and we can chat or whatever. When I die, I want to die peacefully and die in my sleep, like my grandfather did. Not screaming like the passengers in his car. What? Mankind naturally has a fear of death. I don't fear death at all. That person is either not being honest or has lost his mind. That fear will remain until Christ's return for 2 reasons. If there was no fear of death, think of how many would commit suicide. Think of how many would be reckless in their sports, hobbies, and work. A sense of self-preservation is healthy. That men and women would make preparations for that day. We fear it, so we make preparations. Everyone is going to die. There is a 100% mortality rate. Every man knows he will die, but no one wants to believe it. Let's talk about honestly. Let's talk honestly about the fears surrounding death, and then about how Jesus helps us with those fears. Fear of pain. How much pain will it be for me? Will it be a blast of great pain or a gradual pain that lasts for years? We don't like pain, and we don't want to see other people suffer. We are blessed today with a lot of medical technology to lessen pain. Some of it's being misused. However, we have this idea that we need to keep our loved ones alive as long as possible and use every possible means to extend life. It seems in our current American culture, we make every effort to deny death's existence and fight to the very end to say, it ain't so. We need to discuss with our loved ones our wishes on CPR, feeding tubes, ventilators, and respirators. It's a very personal choice. And if you don't talk about it and don't have your wishes heard and written down, you're probably not going to get what you want. Fear of the state of mind. I know this one all too well. My grandmother lost her battle with Alzheimer's a few years ago after a very long battle. So I watched a beautiful mind disappear. Well, I still have my mind at the time of death. To lose one's mind is a fear. You need to discuss with loved ones about nursing homes. Also, near the time of death, will my mind be in a state of bliss or terror? Woody Allen said, I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want to be there when it happens. Fear of being separated from loved ones. Now, we need to make a will and try to make things easy on them by our planning. I know that my mother, God rest her soul, did not have a will. And that just causes issues because this person thinks this would be best, this person thinks this would be best, this person thinks this would be best. And none of those things may have been what my mother wanted. We don't know because she didn't write it down. Get a will, folks. I don't care if you don't think you have anything in the world, if you don't own anything, please get a will. At least you can leave your instructions for your body and your what you want, kind of service you like, anything like that. Or if you don't want a service, some people don't want one. However, not making will, being separated from loved ones is not the main fear here. Miss their company, miss their times together, their relationships, don't want to go, don't want to be forgotten, don't want to be a non-entity. Death happens alone, solitary, and singular. It is so personal. We only have one life. We only have one death. No one can live for us, and no one can die for us. We do it alone. It's the fear of the unknown. We fear things we have never experienced. So we're apprehensive and unsure of ourselves. We have fear of judgment. There was a tough cowboy who didn't fear anything. One man asked him, don't you fear death? The cowboy said, no, I don't fear death. Only what happens after. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27, man is destined to die once, and after that to face judgment. Now, how does Jesus help us with these fears? Fear of judgment. James chapter 5, verse 9. The judge is standing at the door. Hebrews 2, chapter 14 through 15. Now, when we look at these verses, we have to clear up a possible misunderstanding. God is the one who made us, brought us to life by birth, and God will be the one who closes our eyes in death. The devil does not have control over the day of our death. Satan entered the garden in the form of a serpent, tempted man to sin, and with sin came death. And that's why the Bible calls Satan a murderer from the beginning. And the reason Hebrews 2:14 says, him that had the power of death, that is the devil, is because death is the realm in which Satan exercises his authority over the human race, because he tempts a man to sin, and with sin comes death. Even though Satan doesn't determine the day of our death when we die because of sin, we will suffer eternal separation from God. We will go down with Satan to hell. Satan uses this to enslave us. God knew that to help us, he had to become like us. For that reason, he became human, flesh and blood. When Jesus Christ walked the surface of the earth, he was as human as you and I. And it says again in verse 14, and as much as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared in the same. It also says that he never sinned. I debate that one. But that's my opinion. If he was perfect in every way and did not sin, he would not have related at all to the people he was trying to help. That was the whole point of him coming and being human, to relate to us. And if he doesn't sin, if he's perfect, he's still a God then, because only gods can really not sin. Trust me. So we're still bowing down to him and looking up. We're not learning and being taught by his ways. We're just worshiping. He wanted to teach us. So that's my take on that. But he knew the sinner could be pardoned. The sin had to be punished. So what the Bible is saying is he took our place on a cross, and the punishment for our sin was placed upon him, and he died in our place. He was our substitute. The Bible is saying that when the punishment for our sin fell, it fell on Christ, and he saved us by dying for us, for everyone. He died in our place and suffered our hell. It says in Hebrews chapter 2 that Jesus is our brother. The Bible says that Jesus is our elder brother, the firstborn. The firstborn many times has a sense of responsibility for his siblings. Jesus is no different. A friend of mine was on mission in Mogadishu, capital of Somalia, in East Africa. I'd love to go on one of those. It'd be amazing. It was so bad that he said that we walked into one village and everybody was dead. There's a stench of death that gets into your hair, gets under your skin, gets under your clothes, and you can't wash it off. He said, we saw this little boy. You could tell he had worms and was malnourished. His stomach was protruding. When a child is extremely malnourished, their hair turns a reddish color and the skin becomes crinkled as though he's 100 years old. Our photographer had a grapefruit, which he gave to the boy. The boy was so weak, he didn't have the strength to hold the grapefruit, so they cut it in half and gave it to him. He picked it up, looked at us as if to say thanks, and began to walk back towards the village. We walked behind him in a way that he couldn't see us. Siri's talking to my ear. Siri, I don't need you. So he walked behind him in a way that he couldn't see us. And when he entered the village, there on the ground was a little boy who I thought was dead. This is my friend speaking here. There on the ground was a little boy who I thought was dead. His eyes were completely glazed over. And it turned out this was his younger brother. The older brother kneeled down next to his younger brother, bit off a piece of the grapefruit and chewed it. Then he opened up his younger brother's mouth, put the grapefruit in, and worked his brother's jaw up and down. We learned that the older brother had been doing this for the younger brother for 2 weeks. A couple of days later, the older brother died of malnutrition, and the younger brother lived. He says he remembers driving home that night thinking, I wonder if this is what Jesus meant when he said in John chapter 15, verse 13, greater love has no love than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. Jesus is a big brother like that. Not only was Christ the substitute to take our punishment, but through his resurrection, he destroyed the devil's work. 1 John chapter 3, verse 8. The reason the Son of God appeared was to destroy the devil's work. And what is the devil's greatest tool to enslave mankind? Verse 15 of Revelation. Verse 15. Revelations 1:18. I am the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever and ever. And I hold the keys of death and Hades. Jesus told people of his day that they need not fear the river of death. But they wouldn't believe so. He entered the river of death. and came out of the other side. And many saw him. Fear of the unknown. Psalm 91, verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Luke chapter 16, verse 22. The time came when the beggar died, and the angels carried him to Abraham's side. Death happens alone, solitary, and singular. Psalm 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The valley of death is wide enough for two, a Christian and a Savior. Fear of being separated from loved ones. Luke chapter 16, verse 23. In hell, where he was in torment, he looked up and saw Abraham far away, with Lazarus by his side. Matthew 17, verse 2 through 4. There he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Just then, there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Did Peter know who these men were? We shall know each other in heaven. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12. Now we see but a poor reflection, as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. Make sure going to heaven, because there will be, make sure you're going to heaven, because there'll be a nice reunion. Father said to his 2 sons on his deathbed, see you later. The reason I'm saying this story right here is I found this story, this little quip right here, and I'm gonna negate exactly what I'm fixing to say. So, Father said to his 2 sons on his deathbed, see you later. To his last son, he said goodbye. What's the difference? First 2 had Jesus, the last one did not. For him, it was goodbye forever. If you've listened to me tonight, you've heard me say, Jesus died for everybody. He did. He didn't pick and choose. You say that because somebody doesn't say, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, that they're going to be put into the torments of hell for eternity is ludicrous. Because God's not like that. God is filled with mercy, grace, and love. And those tactics, those recruiting tactics, those fear tactics used on people for centuries now are evil and wrong. And I know this because God tells me so. That's all I need. I think some people need to do some soul searching before they start pointing their fingers at other people again. Even fathers talking to their sons on their deathbed. Fear of the state of mind. Psalm 55, verse 4. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death assail me. A faithful Christian lady told the preacher on her deathbed that she felt like 2 demons were always around her. She said that when she died, she felt like those demons were going to escort her to hell. The preacher was disturbed and couldn't understand the terrors. That night he found Psalm 23, verse 6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. He came to her room the next day and said, those are not 2 demons, but Mr. Surely Goodness and Mr. Mercy. And when you die, they're going to escort you to heaven. She died that day in peace. Fear of pain. Psalm 38, verse 7. My back is filled with searing pain. There is no health in my body. Matthew 4, verse 24. News about him spread all over Syria, and people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering severe pain, and he healed them. The ultimate healing is in heaven. Revelation 21, verse 4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old orders of things have passed away. long for that day. We can't even imagine that in our minds. The amazing idea of that. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Joe Lewis. What do you think? Death is something we have to go through. And although we try to keep a stiff upper lip at times, we're all scared to death of it because we don't know. It's unknown territory. Sure, I believe that people have seen the other side. I believe that spirits can speak to us from the other side. I do believe that. But I don't think that we can comprehend where they are. I don't. I think if they even tried to tell us, we'd be like, what? What are you talking about? But I guarantee you it's with God, and that's always a good thing. Because he created you. And he put a lot of work into us. He still does. So, I think he still loves us. So I think when we get to heaven, it will be a joyous reunion where the clarity will come clear, the fogginess of our eyes will be cleared up, and we're going to see clearly like we've never seen before. Okay. I'll take a quick break. You still have 10 minutes. You can still call in. It's okay. I don't mind talking. Everybody knows that. I'm be long-winded at times. All right, we'll take a quick break. After we find a commercial, here's what we're going to do. It'll be a quick one now. Okay. We'll be right back. No, don't want to do it again. Welcome back to Your Path Live with Bishop Mark. I'm your host, Bishop Mark Zorn, coming to you live from Dallas, Texas, from Dallas Universal Life Church, as we do every Wednesday, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern Time. Did I say that quick enough? At the beginning of our show today, I introduced you a little bit to a friend of ours who we affectionately call Pels. I normally wouldn't do this because Pels came to me as a congregant or somebody to his pastor and talked to me. But it's not like it wasn't a matter of guilt or he did something evil or robbed somebody or something like that. It was just something he told me, and I really want to share it with everybody. And I think the people that know him close know about this, but Pels had a car. It was kind of a beat up hoopty that was breaking down. And it turns out the reason he kept it is because that was the car that his father drove when he was growing up. And so he cherished it. I mean, it was just a lot of memories there. And he told me about the reason. He said, I always keep a pair of bolt cutters in the car. I said, well, if that could get you in a little bit of trouble. The police come up, they see that, then, I know. He said, but I do it because my dad always had a pair of bolt cutters in his truck. And I kind of looked at him funny, like, what are you trying to tell me? This was just about a week and a half ago. He told me that when he wanted his son to have the best, but he didn't go to Highland Park High School. So after hours, he would drive to Highland Park baseball fields and cut the lock and go in for 2 or 3 or 4 hours with his son and practice baseball. His father, I've never met, but I do know that his father adored his son. And I know he's heartbroken. And my prayers and thoughts go to him. I can't imagine. And I know that Pels adored you. And that always seemed like it. I mean, he was always kind of fucking the system or whatever, trying to get something, trying to do this, trying to do that, But he thought you hung the moon. To hear him talk about you was almost inspirational. And I hope you see this. I do. I hope somebody shows this to Pels' father. Pels. Just know that your son loved you more than life itself. I know that he did not want to die. And that what happened was an accident. There's some loose ends that need to be tied up around that, I'm sure. But it was an accident. He didn't do it on purpose. But he loved everybody. He used to come in the house here. The dogs would, of course, start pestering him right away for treats, right? And three new comes in, they got to give him treats. Oh, munchy. Oh, you want a treat? You want a treat? Oh, come here, Dexter, come here. He's just talking to him the whole time, giving him one at a time, sitting in the kitchen, giving him one at a time, just loving on him. He was a one-of-a-kind person. And there'll never be another one like him. And those who were his friend, who are his friend, for us, the colors are a little dimmer in the world today. So I'm going to do something today that we don't normally do on your path. I don't know why we don't. I'm going to close it out in prayer today. Death is hard for people that are left behind. But we're selfish. We should be rejoicing. They made it home. There's no more pain for them. There's no more hurting. But we still want them here. I know that. Folks, pray. That's the first thing I can say about grief is you need to pray and you need to listen to God. And if you need to get counseling from either your pastor or from a counselor, I suggest you do so. Don't let it get to the point that you're, lying in bed for a week and not taking a shower and not getting up. And don't do that. That's not what God wants. That's not what Pels wants. It's hard, but God will never give you more than you can handle. Father in heaven, we come to you this evening with heavy hearts, but also with joyous hearts. You welcomed home a beautiful angel with a heart so tender, his smile will melt anybody's gaze in heaven, and his wit will cause the thunder to roll on earth. Father, we thank you for his life, for Pels' life. We thank you for having him. We thank you for letting us know him. Our lives were enriched because of the short time we had with him. And I honestly can't imagine having not known him. Father, I ask that you give comfort to all who are hurting today because of their loss, especially for the father of Pels. My best friend in the world, my next door neighbor, passed away at 11 years old. We were 11. That was my first real experience with death, and it was rough. So I know kind of what you're feeling, kind of. Pels wouldn't want you to be sad. He wouldn't want any of us to be sad. He'd make some joke. I don't remember what he did. Something about that. That kind of sense of humor like he had. Celebrate his life. Celebrate the good times. Father, we ask that you help us stop this epidemic. Help us get this junk off the streets. This fentanyl is poison. This fentanyl is Satan's work in the way that it's used. There are proper ways to use fentanyl in surgeries. But anybody who's taking this stuff and smuggling it from where it's supposed to be and giving it to people on the streets, I'm not here to judge, but that's all. But Father, give him a hug for us. Place all this through Christ our Lord. This stuff right here is what you need to have in your house. If you have children, if you have family, anybody that comes over that you don't necessarily know what they're doing, and you may think you know, but it's not expensive. Keep it in your house. It's called Narcan. And if something happens, it's very simple. Squirt it up their nose. And it could save them. It will save them in most cases. This is God's work trying to defeat the devil's work. This is available over the counter now. It used to not be. It's available over the counter. So I encourage you to get some and put it in your house. It should be a staple in every school, in every house, in every restaurant. It should be a staple. Because people, you wouldn't believe the people that are doing this stuff. You wouldn't believe it. It's rampant. Next Sunday, I'm a little long now. Next Sunday, we will dedicate our service to Pels. So anybody who would like to come at 3 o'clock, I welcome you to. Please bring pictures if you like. Bring your memories. If you'd like to share them, you're welcome to. Join us online. And I think you'd like that. And we'll celebrate. We're not going to do a funeral service. That's not my place. But we will do a time of remembering, a time of remembering the good, remembering the laughs, remembering the love of pals. So until Sunday, when I see all of you there, and the next Wednesday when I see you back here, I say God bless you and good night.
Thank you for joining us for your Path Live with Bishop Mark. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. God bless you. Thank you for joining us for your Path Live with Bishop Mark. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. God bless you.